Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of the Pit Lane Yappers. This week, we are recapping the Imola Grand Prix. I'm Tay.
I'm Haley.
I'm Mox.
I'm Rosie.
Reagan was supposed to be here, but she is sick, and Lex is at work, so it's us four.
Woo!
80% attendance this week.
All right. So, Q1 and Q2, nothing really exciting happened.
Are we just skipping practice?
Oh, I meant FP1. I meant FP1. FP1 and FP2, nothing happened.
Yeah, it was pretty uneventful.
But, unfortunately, FP3 was eventful.
Yeah. The one I didn't wake up for.
Oh, I woke up just in time to get 50 messages of "don't wake up."
Yeah.
Apparently he got distracted by Sebastian Vettel.
And
Sebastian Vettel waved his hands and Fernando went boom and he went boom into the wall.
Real of him.
in FP2, Charles and Oscar did come first and second. That was it. I was at work, I remember. And I was like, I was on my break or I was in the kitchen on my phone. And then it was just like, Rosie. And I was like, well, what is going on? What's happening?
You're like, I won the Grand Prix?
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
God.
I didn't think it was until Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for free practices.
Yeah.
There was really nothing that it was kind of exciting. It was the first time I ever watched this Grand Prix because last year it was rained out, so it's really exciting. But it was kind of uneventful, and I was like, oh.
I think
Okay.
this is most of our first times watching this Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And it was Nico Hulkenberg and kind of Oscar Piastri's first time on the track. Oscar did say
Logan.
No, Logan did it in 2022 F2.
But Oscar did say in his post-race interview that he did some practice laps around the track previous
his first
year.
time racing.
But first time racing, yeah. So, new track for a lot of people.
How is it Hulkenberg?
Because the track, they didn't race on it for like 10 years or 15 years or something like that. And that happened to be when he was not racing or when he was doing other, when he was doing
I'm an adventurous girly.
Yeah. When he was in his gap year. He was finding himself.
Yeah.
He found himself in a Haas, so,
Maybe
Well, there was one time he was in a freaking Aston Martin.
Yeah. That was wild.
Well,
Wild.
Well, yes, but Hulkenberg and Piastri have flown to Monaco together.
Yeah.
Why is Hulkenberg
and
everywhere?
It was Mark Webber, David Coulthard, Nico, and yeah, I was like,
no luggage.
This is the most random thing.
If we reference the tweet, because when I first saw it, it only says Nico, and I thought Rosberg.
You
when
were
I
too.
read it, and I was like, Oscar
whoa.
is a child of divorce. And then it was Hulkenberg, and now I'm just confused.
I thought it was Rosberg too, until I saw Oscar say in an interview that he had to talk to Nico about the tow that he gave Max in qualifying.
Yeah.
That's a good segue into quali.
Yeah.
It is.
Anyway, would have had a McLaren front row if it
would have had a McLaren.
Nico Hulkenberg.
Well, Fernando found the gravel. His best friend's the gravel. Literally looked down for 2 seconds, and all of a sudden I hear the freaking commentators saying, "Oh, Fernando Alonso goes over the gravel," and I'm like, "Huh?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say
it was his first time out in Q3 in an Aston Martin. At least that's what they said. But I was like, I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true. I love him, but the car went backwards last year.
Don't.
It was Lance Stroll's 150th Grand Prix as well.
He was cooking.
I was cooking for him, but
he was
cooking. In terms of quali, we do need to talk about Perez, I feel. that man did not make it into Q3.
Yeah,
but in light of what we have
But guess who did? Guess who did? Both V-carbs.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yup.
But yeah, because we found out that Checo's engineer isn't talking to him, I don't think that's Checo's fault.
I cannot believe this. Like,
I don't know how that's allowed.
I think I need to go and watch some races on Checo's onboard.
Talked to him quite a bit.
I feel like I need to watch.
Apparently not in quali. He doesn't get talked to.
But I'm sorry.
How is that allowed?
You're still in a Red Bull though.
Yeah. Also, wait, we're gonna talk about that tweet after the race. But
I also have something I need to talk about because Lex isn't here.
I think both V-carbs out qualifying a Red Bull. First of all, anyways,
no one cares about Ricardo. I don't care about Ricardo in this house.
Put him in the seat.
But
it was his first Q3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Daniel's, yeah.
We have to give credit where credit's due. But I also think it kind of gives Red Bull that little bit maybe of doubt. Probably not, because they're all about money. But that maybe Checo isn't the right fit.
Yeah.
I think it also goes
and
to
this time, it could be Yuki.
Yeah.
It's not just Daniel this time. It's Yuki.
Exactly. There's finally
Marco found Jed
talking about it, and I'm like, yes, because I see a tweet.
It's
I'm like,
now
that's
gotten
out the 4 other Yuki stands on Twitter.
I was about to say it left Yuki's side of Twitter. People are talking about it.
Yeah. I will say, did Daniel not? I haven't rewatched quali, but did Daniel not run in Q3, or did he only do 1 lap? I feel like he didn't set a time.
He was on the track, but I don't think he set a time.
He said it.
Let's find out.
I don't think he did.
While we're finding that out, can we talk about Oscar impeding Kevin?
No, he did set a time.
Anyway.
I am unbelievably bitter about that penalty. Who gives
But I will say he was impeding.
He was.
Yes, I know he's guilty, but I don't care.
I will say I will back Rosie here a little bit. He wasn't told. His engineer didn't tell him, unfortunately, so it wasn't fully Oscar's fault. It was more the team's fault than anything.
Yeah.
So free Oscar Piastri.
I thought that was a harsh penalty for someone.
It should have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, it's usually a grid penalty, but I think people who go and say like, "Oh, I wasn't told," it's like you drop 1 instead of 3 or 5. Yeah. So I think it was also the fact it was Kevin Magnussen, who's almost on a race ban. Really?
Yeah.
That's why I was like, he did nothing wrong.
Also, speaking of a Haas, can we talk about in Q3, literally with 5 seconds to go? It was Q3 or Q2, I don't remember. Hülkenberg was P1.
It was actually Q1 because he knocked out Logan from going into Q2.
Sorry,
Logan, I want to say Logan almost made it into Q2. And then they deleted his lap time, which made him go P20, which I would like to talk about that as well, because
he went off.
So here's the thing, it was the natural gravel. Mm-hmm. So previous day with F2 and F3, or same day, I can't remember, a bunch of people were getting their times deleted in the race and whatever for the natural gravel, but then the FIA was reinstating those times back later on. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got confused on why they never gave Logan his time back, if it was for the same thing that the F2 and F3 drivers were getting reinstated for.
Ollie got his deleted and dropped down to 19th, and then they reinstated and he went back to 2nd.
Exactly.
Logan would have
the FIA just hates.
Like, why couldn't they give him that?
I feel like the FIA just hates Logan.
Yeah.
100%. And then I also never realized this, but I didn't realize that if your time gets deleted in Q1 and then you haven't set a time officially, your team they
have to appeal to let you race.
So if Williams wouldn't have appealed, he wouldn't have raced at all. Yep. And I think that's crazy.
I was at work, and I went, can I just look up the qualifying results to my boss? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And I was looking on F1, like the actual website, and Logan, it was no time, and I was like, like he didn't even get out? No. What happened? And then I watched it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But don't worry, guys, he didn't start dead last. The race.
Anyways.
The race.
So
let's talk about it. Fernando Alonso pit lane start.
Let's talk about Logan first.
No. We're starting at the beginning of the race, which is Fernando Alonso pit lane start. Also, I got up at 4:30.
Starting in between. Well, it's Carlos starting in between Oscar and Charles.
I was like, Carlos, you have the ability to do something hilarious, and he didn't.
No.
He did not drive backwards. No.
Okay, but can I just state, I got up at 4:30 in the morning to watch this race, and I was on the train, and they were like, Fernando Alonso, the team can confirm Fernando Alonso will be starting from the pit lane. And I was like, can we turn this train around, please? I don't want to watch this anymore. I was in my Fernando Alonso jersey. I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Literally was in the bar, and a guy looked at me, the Frenchman. He looked at me, and he went, oh. Like, literally, because I was Pierre Gasly came on the freaking screen, and I was like, oh, because it went from Oscar to Pierre, and I was like, oh, I was not expecting it. And he turned around, and it looked like he was going to say something to me, and he saw my jersey and went, oh. And turned around.
He was like, she's got it bad enough.
He's like, she's going through it. I'll let it happen. But
oh, no. Oh.
Now we can talk about Logan.
Yeah.
I'll say Logan was doing quite well. Logan did really well at the start.
So well. I would love to talk about how he defended against not only Yuki, but also Danny when he was on 10-lap older tires than them. And he was defending for his life until his tires were absolutely shot.
In a car that apparently is worse than V-Car.
Yep.
And not only that, his car doesn't have the upgrades, and it's overweight.
Yep. Would you look at that, Williams? Would you look at that?
And then I think we also, now that we're on the topic of Williams, we have to talk about that pit stop for Alex.
Oh, which one?
The very first one.
Which one? 1, 2, 3, or 4. When it's
the very first one that ended up causing him to pit like 5 times.
Guys, can I tell you right now? It was like lap 2 or 3. It said Albon pit. Lynn went, why is he in the pit? And I was like, I don't know. Comes out slow as a snail. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow, he's really slow. Like, literally was being passed by everyone. And then it was like, Albon lets Alonso pass. And I went, yeah. And then they were like, Albon's tire's off. I went, oh. And Lynn went, no.
And then so that brings me to the ridiculous penalty that he got. Because how are you giving him a 10-second penalty when he's already 1:19 behind? A lap
Welcome back,
down.
Jensen Button.
1:19 behind.
Welcome back, Jensen Button.
Like, his race was already done for, so 10 seconds, just find the dang team.
I yelled that in the bar. I went, welcome back, Jensen Button. And everyone turned to me, and I was like, either they get the lore of the 107 place penalty, or they think I'm insane.
Yeah.
They probably thought they were insane.
Yeah.
Not the man in front of me where Lando was so fast, and he's like, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get the win. I was like, please don't tell me that.
That was everyone around us at Miami. Strangers being like, he's gonna do it.
Also, it was so funny because I was like, oh, Alex plus 1 lap. Alex plus 1 lap. I was like, he needs a safety car. Safety car is 100%. Like, we need a safety car. No safety car, first of all. Second of all, I was by pit 2, I was like, all right, we need to DNF. Like, this is getting embarrassing at this point.
No,
I thought
I
Aston Martin was bad.
Ages.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
I
they were
don't know
like,
why they waited.
But then he got I think they were waiting for the 10-second penalty because they kind of knew it was coming. So they were like, was it going to be like a Checo thing where he DNFs and he goes back on? He's like 18 laps behind to serve the penalty and then DNFs again.
Yeah.
So I think they were waiting for it and he got it. And I was like, okay, he's going to serve it. And they're just not going to have him go out. Then they let him go out again.
30 more laps.
And I was like, whoa. And then they were like, Albon leaves the race. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it was like,
also brings me...
Yeah, about time.
Personally, if I was Alex Albon, I would have left.
Which then brings me to before he got retired, he actually started helping out Logan, and I think that is ultimate teammate right there.
Yeah.
If your race is ruined already,
You know who
at
can't
least
relate?
help
Ferrari.
out your team.
You know who can't relate? Ferrari.
Know who they were
Who
able
can
to
relate? Aston Martin.
You know,
Fernando beating Alpines
without being aggressive and getting 10 penalty points in 2 weekends. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I think also the fact that Alex was so willing to say, like, I don't know if this helps Logan, but do this and do this and tell him go wide in this corner because it's easier. Like, it just shows that it's not just like a teammate versus teammate situation, which I feel like it is at Red Bull or Ferrari or Mercedes now. Like, they're actually like just a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Alex.
I don't know if Logan would have done that, but I think Logan wouldn't have been able to. He would have been like, his engineers are like, dude, I don't know what's going on. And they're like, gonna be like, help.
Out of the two, Alex is the only one who's raced there in an F1 car. So Alex knows the track, whereas
I think also Alex has more experience in a Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also, I think part of it was like he knew he was done for. Like he knew obviously he wasn't gonna get anywhere, but he knew Logan could do something and potentially get Williams a little farther up than they were.
If we're talking about teammates, can we please talk? I know no one's an Aston Martin here, but can we talk about how Fernando came onto the radio and he goes, how's Lance doing? And they were like, yeah, he's doing well. If you could just defend from Ocon, it would get him that one up and he'd get the point. And Fernando went, okay, that's it. And then he didn't speak for the rest of the race. And he was defending with his life.
No radio.
And I was like, well, speaking of no more radio, he did that in quali. They were like, you need to go faster. He went, no radio.
Talking.
He just said no radio. And I went, welcome back, Renault Fernando.
Can we also talk about how none of them wanted to speak on the radios this race? They were all fed up. They were all fed up. They said, just shut up and let us drive.
Also, Max's little, like, fight back with freaking GP, where Max is like, yeah, because I have no freaking tires. And GP goes, just informing you.
And Max is like, I'm just informing you too.
I can't wait for Ferrari to hire Oscar Piastri as an engineer because that man knows what a Ferrari rear wing looks like.
Well,
they were scaring me.
Also, can I just tell you that, it was so sad. It was Carlos's last time at Ferrari's home race in a Ferrari. And when he said,
we've got another Italy race.
Yeah, but it's not Ferrari's home race. This is their home race. But, and he goes, next year I'm going to be in a different color, but I hope I get some love from the Tifosi. I went, I'm going to jump out a window.
I went, because not me, babe. Don't worry.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I'll go there myself with my 55 Ferrari hat. And I'll be like, yeah.
Yup.
Like, are you Ferrari kidding? Carlos hat. And I'm like, and my shirt. And I'm like, yeah.
I'm pulling up. We're pulling up, babe. Yeah. Don't even stress. Don't worry about it.
Like, I'll be there. I will be there. But, speaking of Ferrari, I'm so sorry. I don't have to say it because I literally looked at Lynn and I went, I need a safety car. And Lynn goes, we need a safety car. It's 100%. I went, don't worry, Charles is going to do something. Not even 30 seconds later, they go, Charles Leclerc's in the grass. And I went,
it was off the corner.
I was like, I need to stop speaking.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, guys. It's Monaco this week.
Oh, he's going to be crashing.
Somebody's going to be crashing.
And it's going to be Charles because that man had never finished.
It
The
better not be
Monaco
a
curse is gonna get him, and I will kill myself.
But if we're talking about people in the grass and gravel, Checo?
Yeah.
Every time I looked up.
And Lewis. Didn't Lewis also go in the gravel?
Once, but Checo was
familiar.
Yeah. Checo was pulling a Fernando Alonso there.
I genuinely thought
Unfortunately.
after the first time, after I saw him go in the gravel, I was like, okay, if he goes in the gravel again, we're getting a safety car. Like,
Me too.
And then, no.
Nothing happened. Which is, can we talk about that statistic? They were like guaranteed safety car. Like there's never there's no safety, which I don't know.
They were talking
that's
about
a good thing
too, and I was like,
yeah. Well, apparently the guy who cursed Imola and said that anytime he's alive, like it'll rain that weekend.
Well, he died.
And it was sunny.
Lando would have won if it was a rain race.
Yeah.
So
Lando would have won if it was one more lap.
And if my mom had balls, she'd be my dad. But
here we go.
Oh God.
Anyways, we're talking about nightmare.
People.
If we're talking about nightmares and weird things, can we talk about how Fernando Alonso's brakes were on fire?
And he was so
and he goes front brakes on fire and continues driving. I'm just like,
and they get on the radio. They're like,
They said nothing. It was the freaking translation. It was just ...
Yeah.
And then the next day they were like, Lawrence Stroll is getting annoyed at Aston Martin's performance. I'm like, bro, you're the boss. Go talk to Adrian Newey.
All the drivers recently have been moving to I don't give a fuck town because
literally.
Kevin, Oscar, Alonso. Like, what's going on?
Also, Lando saying, "Speak up! I can't hear you."
Will was getting fed up with him. Will was gonna come swinging. Will was like, "I can't talk any louder.
Right?
I'm gonna beat this kid up in the cockpit. I swear to God."
Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso's just like, "Yep.
Cool.
I was like, wow. But also, if I'm talking about Aston Martin, Lance's 150th race, and he did so well.
Why did he finish in the end?
9th.
I was gonna say it was a couple of points.
Anyway, he did so well.
Yeah.
9 is not that impressive. Okay, I understand 9 is not that impressive as a McLaren girly.
No one's disagreeing with you. Where did
he start?
13th or something?
I think he was 13th or 16th, which is why I'm looking it up because I don't remember.
Either way, that's a really good job to go from one of those positions to 9th. Like that's really
Thank you, Fernando Alonso. He was 13th.
Yeah.
Also, Stroll was doing that. Yuki also kind of helped out. He kind of towed Lance a little bit past.
We did get a yoint, a single one.
But it's a yoint.
Exactly. Also, did you guys know that VCarb takes a team picture every time they get a point instead of on the podium? I find that hilarious.
That's so cute, though.
It's so cute, though, because like they know they're never getting on the podium.
Yeah, exactly. They're like,
they're like, well, we gotta do it when we can. Like
that's really cute.
It was their place also, and no one talked about it, but it is their.
I forgot.
I'm so sorry. I can't support a team whose name is VCarb.
Okay, that's not.
And they want to be RB. That's even worse.
Also, no.
Give me back Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
If the option between the home race is Ferrari and VCarb, you are being drowned out by Ferrari in Italy.
True. Who was down in Imola last year?
Yuki.
Helping out the flood victims and helping out, like, clean up.
My respect grew so much for that.
You know who wasn't? Ferrari drivers, Ferrari team. None of them.
Likely.
Well, hardly anyone else.
Wasn't George there?
I believe so.
I think George was there.
It was Yuki and one other driver, but I just don't remember what driver.
I'm pretty confident
Either
it was
George was there or he sent a bunch of money. But I remember something big about George.
Sold his race suit last year to raise money.
Didn't Lando do a stream?
Yeah.
A charity stream?
Yep.
They all had their little.
I will say, I really did like the little touch on the trophy.
Yeah.
Of putting 2023 citizens. That was really nice and touching.
Okay, if we're talking about the trophy.
Here we go. This is our segue.
Are we done with the race?
No, I have a couple more points.
Oh, points.
Right. I got 2 points. One of them we talk about Lando. The other one is another Logan one, but
do Logan first.
Okay.
Are you getting a text from Lex?
No.
No.
I had to. I had to think about it. I was trying to find it earlier, but I couldn't find the exact wording again. But it was basically between him and his engineer, I think, at the end of the race, and James. But basically, if they didn't have so much dirty air and they didn't have so many blue flags, Logan would have actually been higher than he was, because the reason why he couldn't pass Gasly at the end is because they kept having blue flags.
Yeah, they were lapped.
It's always Alpine.
What was it? Lando had lapped up to Daniel or something, and that was
No, and then at that point it was at the end, and they couldn't do any more blue flags.
Guys, so when I tell you that it was like, I think it was, oh shoot, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Lewis or George, or I think it was Lewis, because they were talking about ex-teammates, and it was Alonso, and they go, and there's Alonso's ex-teammate passing him for a second time, and I was like, just DNF. Just keep driving to Monaco. We're done. This race weekend doesn't happen. We're done.
Said it was over. He started the weekend saying, I don't need to be here.
He literally came in and he goes, I don't want to be here.
No.
They were teammates like a million years ago. Commentators always like to bring up old beef. But also, I think
no, we're going back to Logan. We're going back to Logan for a second.
Lewis,
the fact that you were sending
Tay,
you were sending those radios, and Logan's like, there's not much I can do. Yeah. There's not much I can do. I think this is it for me. Like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I just think it's the way he thinks, because he's had such a bad last year. Like, he just has such negative thoughts about himself. Like, I feel like that's kind of holding him back. It's kind of like Lando, where he's like, this race, I'm horrible, like lap 4, and then he doesn't really do as well because he just gives up. I think that's kind of like Logan too, because Logan never really like ever got somewhere. And then he got a point, and he kind of was doing really well, and then Qatar, he was like, guys, I can't do it anymore, and like he kind of fell back into that.
I think a lot of it too has to be with everybody, the media, commentators, and fans always pointing the finger at him.
Logan.
So his first thing is to go, I'm so sorry, like, is it something I did?
Did anyone else see what Bottas's excuse was for being in the Williams, or in James's office? He ran out of coffee and needed to go get some for 15
minutes.
Yeah.
The Italians know how to do coffee. It couldn't be 15
Laura
minutes.
Winter was talking about it, and she went, yeah, I don't think that's true. I was like,
yeah.
I don't want to talk about that second Williams seat right now.
Well, if we're talking about excuses, let's talk about Checo.
Oh my gosh.
Mind you, Checo, I don't even know where he placed. Where did he place? Who knows? Higher than Aston
8th.
Martin, I know that.
Yeah, I know he got a full point.
He literally said, our car wasn't meant for this track. This track isn't meant for racing. When we didn't qualify well, it was over for us.
Meant for though? I'm a bit confused. It's a race track. What else is it meant for?
What is it meant for? Second of all, Bro thinks he's part of the team. He's part of the team. He's not
part of the team.
His teammate got pole and won, so I don't know what this we is.
And like Max was complaining that he had no grip and he was out of battery and whatever, but like he still won, and he also still got pole position.
Yeah.
Speaking of that battery,
Max was complaining about the car.
Battery stressing me out.
No, yeah,
Let's talk about that battery.
But that battery, the minute he said that he was running out, I said, "Oh my God, Lando's gonna do it." I was literally like this the entire time.
I was
like,
it was like 12. Still stuck in Miami. I was so stuck in Miami. I almost went to Lynn. I go, we have to go to the podium, and then I was like,
no, we're good.
We are watching it on television. But that, when they were like, and Max Verstappen just came over the radio and said he has no battery left, I went, yeah, and there were girls on the other side of the bar going, Lando, Lando.
Well, they showed the comparison of Lando's battery and his battery, and Max was like this, and Lando's is like this, and I'm like, oh, okay, listen.
I think and then Lando was saying he had no grip, and he kind of was going off, which made him like
get older tires, yeah.
You know.
But also 0.7.
Yeah.
He got down.
I was just thinking about what could have been if it wasn't for fucking Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah. Can I tell you,
That
I texted
blonde
Rosie.
man.
I texted Rosie I think it was on Thursday. Was it Thursday when I texted you? And I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know I have a really good feeling about McLaren. And last time I had this kind of feeling, Lando won.
Yep. I literally remember you telling me that morning. You were like, I don't want to jinx it, but I have a really good feeling about Lando. And I was like, don't say it.
We literally could have had a double McLaren podium.
I actually have tears in my eyes thinking about the Oscar front row loss.
Don't worry, Monaco.
Yeah. He's confident about Monaco. Did you see his post-race interview with Zach? He was like, I think we can win. I was like, okay.
Also,
it was so tell him about every particle of dust on that fucking track. Let me tell you now.
What's the name of his race engineer?
I'm gonna give Rosie my F1 TV login, and I'll be like, use a VPN, and she will use it just for Oscar's onboard to be like,
yeah.
Kevin Magnussen impeding. Meanwhile, Kevin Magnussen over here, Piastri's here.
I'm like, you've got a car coming up behind you. Signs is behind you.
Put it in like, reverse. How'd you get this number?
He's like, who is this? I was like, that doesn't matter.
Until you ask.
You kind of need to hire me right now.
Yeah. But are we done with the race now?
I just want more things from me for the pod listeners. Guys, I am not delusional. 1681 is real.
Anyways.
Okay, Mox can now talk about her little segment here.
Okay. All right, let's talk about it. It was a Seb weekend, boys and girls. It was a Seb weekend.
We got Seb. We got him in a car.
I'm not being delusional. We got Seb. And that man, first of all, he did a race. Not a race. He did a run with his Forever Senna, like, line t-shirt. I've got words for like Bottas, Lewis, and Max, but Lewis put it on.
They got theirs stolen, didn't you see?
I did, but I also saw something and I forgot to send it to you guys. But apparently they did have extras, and apparently Seb did go up to Max, and Max shook his head no. But
anyways,
I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened, but
anyways,
at least they showed up.
Lives and breathes and dies in Red Bull match.
They all ran it. Okay, minus Charles and Lewis, but who was expecting them to run? Not me.
Also, Oscar and Kevin weren't there.
Yeah,
they were on a bike.
Oscar and Kevin weren't there at all. What do you want to say about that?
Interviews or something.
No,
yeah.
I wanted. Okay, anyways, I was just saying at least Lewis and Charles were there, even if they were.
He ran in the rain. He ran in the rain. Everybody.
With the freaking photos and videos of everybody dripping wet, soaking wet was so funny.
And then he went to the memorial and he did this whole memorial thing. And like all the drivers were there, and he personally asked every F2 driver, and they said, of course we'll be there. Literally, he's the only man who can bring the entire grid, minus Oscar Piastri and Kevin Magnussen, together.
Realistically, as an F2 driver, if 4-time world champion comes up to you and goes, hey, do you want to be here? Can you be here? You're going to be like,
Kimi Antonelli's like, I have to butter up this man because he's going to take my seat.
Kimi Antonelli's like, yeah, please.
But anyways,
save me from this child labor. I'll go on a run.
That same day,
he's like, oh, is this my PE credit?
That same day, that entire grid, F1 and F2, minus a few people,
and F3.
F3 was there. What are you
well, okay, but they were like in the way back. They don't count. Anyways, Logan was there, and Seb ran up, and he went to stand next to Logan. Out of everybody, he passed Charles,
put his arm
he passed Lewis, and he put his arm around Logan and said, I want to stand next to him.
Yep.
He's like, this is my son now.
And you know who he stood in front of? Nico Hülkenberg.
Likely.
I really do hope that Seb and Logan talked. I feel like Seb could really give Logan some really good advice. Let me tell you, they definitely yapped.
Seb
and I really hope they did.
You know Seb watched lap of Legends.
Oh,
you know he watched that shit.
You know he got a phone solely to text Jensen Button. So trust me.
My mom has a theory. She thinks that he only speaks via telegraph.
So then that was Thursday. Friday and Saturday he was MIA. He was doing interviews, but
on Friday he tracked Max down to sign his helmet that he gave him in 2022.
He tracked it. The helmet that he traded that couldn't fit Max's head because Seb's head is so tiny. Mind you, he gave the grid these balaclavas to wear.
Yep.
And they all wore them. And then Sunday, we got Seb in a car. We got Seb.
I wake up, my phone is about to fall on the floor off of that bedside table.
I was on the train, and it was like live now. And literally Lex DM'd me. I went, trust me, I already know.
You're like,
I'm already watching. And she's like, it was literally 3 seconds ago. It's like, yeah, I had the notifications on. It's up. I've got it. Also, he went live for like literally a minute. And he's like, hi guys, this is Sebastian Vettel. I'm at Imola. I'm about to get into Senna's car. And then it ended. And I was like, but boy, and I thought that was it. And then I got the notification from YouTube. Sebastian Vettel drives, and I was like, yeah. Okay, that's what I need. Yep. I watched it. I was on the train, bawling my eyes out, by the way. So much so that the man across from me leaned over and went, are you okay, darling? And I went, I'm fine. I literally go, I'm fine. Sobbing. It was meant to be though, because it ended as soon as my train pulled into Grand Central. I was like, this is fantastic. Perfect timing. But he held up the Brazilian flag, and then he hid the other flag that I don't know.
Austrian.
Thank you. Austrian flag for another lap by itself, and then he held both of them, and everyone's like, that's like the utmost respect. Because they each got the same amount of respect and honorary, whatever.
Time.
Because everybody's doing the Brazilian the Brazilian flag, but nobody really does the Austrian flag. They kind of just pull it in there, but it's so.
Yeah, I think it's really meaningful because.
And he was yelling their names.
Because Senna had the Austrian flag in his car that day.
No, he said nobody knew, even Britta. No one knew he was going to have that Austrian flag.
Yep.
And he's like, it's what Senna would have done. I wanted to do it.
He completed the lap that Senna wanted to do.
I'm going to cry again.
No.
But also, before he pulled out the flag, he was driving, and there's a little steering wheel, and I went, that steering wheel's going to fall off. Somebody has to have medical on site.
I can't have... He was doing the manual gear shift. I thought that
I was like, this was too much. He was doing the manual. He was driving, and then he was going, and I was like, hands on the wheel.
You're about to make it.
I was like, stop it.
That's how
and then
everyone
he did donuts.
Drives. Yeah.
Literally did donuts.
Not here, babe.
No.
Here in Europe, though.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. However, this was a fast car, okay? I was really stressed. And then he did donuts.
He was not cruising either. No. He was racing it.
They said he put some fast laps in. He goes, yeah, it's meant to be driven.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Sebastian Vettel being a car collector, but knowing these famous fast famous cars are supposed to be driven, he's like, I don't want them behind a box. Thank you. And then he did donuts. And apparently he was not allowed to do donuts. They told him not to do donuts because it's going to ruin the road. And he went, okay. And then did donuts.
Yeah.
Likely. And then he got out.
And then bowed to the car.
I literally was texting Haley. I go, he's doing the thing.
Yeah. The fact that he put the flags on the car before he bowed.
Which, okay, to everybody who doesn't know Seb, he bowed to his car when he won, I think it was his first championship.
Yeah.
And, he did donuts and bowed to it, and everyone's like, whoa. And not just, he was on his knees, and he was, on the ground, bowing to it. And so it became his thing, and he started bowing to his cars like this, and Lewis did it, and everybody started doing it because the Seb, he also did the finger thing, and that became the Seb. And so him doing that to Senna's car was just so sweet. And it's everybody okay, not everybody, but mostly everybody, anybody who has a brain was like, Sebastian Vettel will be the only person who knows how to respect a sport. Like, he has so much respect for the legends and the cars, and not just them either. Like, he's so into helping them try to figure out the environment situation and helping women get into the sport. Like, it's not like he's so stuck in the past and it's all these rich men who have to race. Like, he's like, okay, yes, that was it before, but let's get women in. Let's get more environmentally friendly things into F1, which is why it was his B hotel. And then photos came out and interviews came out, and he was like, yeah, I don't miss the podium feeling. Sebastian Vettel, sit down with me. You'll miss the podium feeling. I will play every single race until you miss it. Trust. And then there's photos of him with Toto, and he's smiling, and Toto leans over and said something. And everyone's like, what is he saying? And I was like, 100%. He's like, you got to come to Mercedes.
I'm running with you. Trust.
That's the Seb lore. Then he was gone. They never showed him in the race.
I would just like to say, it's not like Seb related, but it is women in sport related, and as this is what our podcast is about, I think we should talk about the Chiefs kicker.
No. He gets no airtime on here. No.
Yeah.
Well,
Zero.
that's why I didn't say his name.
We hate him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want.
Anyways, that's all we have to say. Anyways, going back to Sebastian Vettel, he's coming back in 2025, even though he doesn't miss the podium. But don't worry, Mercedes will not be having a podium in 2025. So he's coming back.
Since
he also visited every garage.
Yeah, well, not every garage.
Okay, every
Almost
important
every
garage.
Not Ferrari.
Thank God. Can we talk about Fernando Alonso's pre-race interview where they're like, how are you focusing on the 33rd? And he goes, I think we should just be happy with 32.
Yeah, and the depression beard he's growing back.
Guys, when I tell you, I was watching it like this, like that photo of me I read the caption. I went, he gave up.
Barricade.
And everyone looked at me and I was like, he gave up. Aston Martin, look what you did.
I'd like to talk about IndyCar a little bit.
We can. We absolutely can.
It is leading up to Indy 500.
I'll be watching. Is it during Monaco?
No, it starts. They're expecting it to be delayed a little bit.
Slay. Okay.
So it starts at 11 my time. So around noon. Your time.
Shoot, that'll be Monaco.
No, Monaco starts at 8 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. your time.
Yeah, the race.
2.5 hours with no safety cars. Monaco
will be good. Trust.
The race starts, it says on the IndyCar app, it starts at 12:38 p.m. And if it's going to be delayed, it's probably going to be after 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be
weather
good.
delay.
I'm going to be on my couch all day.
So IndyCar quali, the 500 quali, because Rosie brought up women in motorsports.
Yeah.
I would like to just kind of
woman
say, Catherine Legge, is it Legge? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Catherine Legge is racing in the Indy 500.
Yep, she made it to the last chance.
The only woman that is in the lineup for the Indy 500.
Okay, you guys should have told me there was a woman in IndyCar. I would have watched immediately.
Well, she only races the 500, I think.
What's the difference between IndyCar and the Indy 500? I'm completely lost.
Indy 500
Indy 500 is the race. It's like the big one.
Mm-hmm.
But they do other.
It's like Monaco.
33 drivers that make it in. There's 34 that qualify. One of them gets knocked out.
Who got knocked out?
Nolan Siegel.
He's the rookie. He won Indy, was it Indy Lights now? Indy NXT, which is the F2, F3 basically of Formula One.
He has been killing it. And
it's his first year.
Yes, he should have gotten ahead of Graham Rahal, who did qualify.
I know that name.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
The way that qualifying in IndyCar works, very brief, is that they do like a qualifying for basically the middle people, because there's so many cars. So they do like a big chunk of the middle people, and then they shorten it. So then they go, okay, top 12. And then once the top 12 get through, okay, out of that, top 6. And then after that, it's the last chance. So it's the bottom 4 people on the time card all race for the fastest times. So it's not like F1 where they do 1 lap. They do 4 laps, and they take the average top time from all, or the top speed from all 4 of those, and that's your like lap time.
That's stupid. Sorry.
So basically,
IndyCar, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. That's just a stupid
IndyCar.
To also add on to it, so basically the very first quali that they do, all 34 go, and then it kind of it sets 13 through.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be watching
29.
IndyCar,
and then next they do the top 12. So then 7 through 12 get set.
Is there a DTS for IndyCar?
Yes, 100 Days to Indy.
No, like actually a DTS. Like
No,
it
there
tells
should
me
be though, but
the way every team works and like how the driver.
They do a little bit on 100 Days to IndyCar, but it's not a ton. But
I will say
that's the only reason I got into F1 is because they were so
really
good
job on IndyCar races. They're very much like I'm sure you know from like F1 TV, like the different commentators and stuff. They explain stuff in a way that they're like, we may have new people, let us explain how this works, kind of thing. Obviously, Indy 500 is going to be a big race for you to drop into. But if you just watch like
all I know is Fernando Alonso won Indy 500.
Honestly, to kind of get into IndyCar, you just gotta. Honestly, this is how I got it. You just gotta start watching it. You know, you watch practices
it's just not
and
accessible.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about IndyCar, and I'm not even 100% on that, is Pato. So.
Yeah. All I know is David Malukas, Pato Award, and Fernando Alonso won the Indy 500. That's all I know. Anyways,
back to Nolan Siegel. The only reason he did not get through, because his lap pace would have been fast enough to beat out Graham Rahal for the last place. At least he may have even gotten above Marcus Ericsson and gotten to be 32nd or 31st. But on his 3rd lap, they told him foot to the floor, like go for it, and he hit the barrier and crashed. But he said, he was quoted afterwards saying, I wasn't going to go home knowing I didn't go flat out. So he literally.
Why can't they just all race?
What's the NASCAR quote?
Why can't they just all race?
Quote? You know what I'm talking about, Tay.
I do, but I can't think of it.
Put my foot to the floor until I see the checker flag or God. Yep.
I know that quote.
Going for. Yep.
And we also need to talk about Scott McLaughlin.
You know, I gotta give credits to
he has, it's a new record of
the fastest time ever in history. And I mean, I don't know if you were watching it, Tay, but watching it live and watching speeds go up to 245 at some points, that was insane.
To kind of point out, so his average top speed out of for all 4 of his laps was a 234.220. So he was and then nobody else was hitting those 234s.
No,
like he was.
Nope.
And that was crazy. So kudos to him. Can't even be mad that he has pole position.
Nope. I hope Roman Grosjean and Ferrucci get into a little tussle. To take him out.
Are there actually 32 cars on a track?
Yep.
For the Indy 500.
I will not be watching IndyCar.
It's an oval.
Oh Lord, guys, my ADHD, I can't be sitting there.
Watch a regular IndyCar race before the 500. Don't go into the 500.
Yeah. The McLarens, so like we were saying, IndyCar, you have one-off drivers, so it's basically like if F1 let one-off people drive only Monaco, like that's all they did was they made a car, they built a team.
It's kind of like F1 Academy doing their wild card.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And so normally teams have 2 to 3 drivers depending on what they want. So like McLaren has 3 cars that they run throughout the year. They're running 4 of them this year, and their extra driver is Kyle Larson, and what is he doing?
That name.
The
NASCAR All-Star is what he just
600
did.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it is supposed to take. What is he driving again? Is it before or after? Is it that Saturday or is it that Sunday night?
Hold on, I gotta look it up.
He may not. He's slaying the game too hard. He may not be able to race the 500, and so IndyCar legend.
It's
Tony
after.
Khan, yeah,
it's at like 6 p.m. But
so
it's in
after fly.
It's in North Carolina though.
Yep. So he needs to go from Indianapolis to North Carolina after the race. But if there's a weather delay in Indy, he won't be able to do it. He'll have to go to NASCAR. So Tony Kanaan, IndyCar legend, asked Indy 500 if he could do some test runs in the McLaren Thursday before the race on Sunday. We haven't heard back yet if they've approved it or not, but if they do...
If we're talking about approvals and requests, we need to talk about the rumors.
I don't think we do, actually. I think we can end it here. All right, guys.
No, okay, I think we're talking... Okay, let's talk F1 rumors. If you really mentioned it, let's talk. Kimi Antonelli.
Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Haley.
All right.
Who requested it? Was it Mercedes?
Yeah.
Well, Mercedes requested the FIA to approve Kimi Antonelli's super license points before he turns 18.
And they're saying it's so he can run an FP1 session.
Yeah, but I don't think that...
I think we all know the real reason.
Yeah.
But, okay, can I just say, Williams, this is not just me being a Logan diehard, but, Williams would be so stupid to start from square one again.
Well, I actually don't think that Kimi would actually go to Williams. I truly...
if they're fighting for the super license, they're going to put him straight in Mercedes. I
don't think it's going to go into Williams.
Please fight back.
Sorry, but could you imagine being George Russell and being one of the most successful drivers in F2?
You have the last Mercedes win under your belt. And
I kind of would love it because George would literally humble that child so bad. George would not care that it was a 17-year-old. He would be like, this dumb kid doesn't know what he's doing. Get him out of the car.
Let's talk about George. He is my George is one of Mercedes' most successful junior drivers ever. And he's always looked up to Lewis. Lewis was his inspiration. Blah blah blah. Likely. He was in Williams for 3 years. He moved up to Mercedes. He was second driver to Lewis Hamilton,
which he was fine with.
Yeah. And then your 7-time world champion teammate is leaving the team. You're like, yeah. And then Williams are like, oh, look at this 12-year-old.
I'm telling you right now, Kimi is going to go into George's driver's room and goes, can you help me with homework? And George is going to be like, no. Who are you?
Okay, but can we, outside of his age, can we talk about the fact that Kimi isn't doing that well in F2? Which Primo's not doing that well in total, and I love
Ollie is doing quite well versus Kimi. He's still, he's not doing well,
okay,
but
yes,
versus Kimi,
yes.
He's doing better.
He's
so
not well. Also, people are talking
Mercedes
about
is putting
F3. Yeah. He's never raced in F3. He went from F4 to F2.
Also, Mercedes is like, you know what? I'm going to take the 17-year-old that's not doing well, and I'll just let Haas take his teammate that's successful.
They can have the kid currently.
Going to show up
and I understand Toto
in George's trailer, and George is going to be like, whose goddamn white baby is that?
Also,
George
must feel awful because he was put in Williams for how long? Because Toto's like, he's not ready. And then they're bringing this 17-year-old up, and they're like, you can replace 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton because we missed out on Max Verstappen and we're not doing it again. Do they know they already did it with Oscar.
Does England have the Coogan laws? When kids have jobs?
They can only work
certain hours.
Oh yeah, that's
and
why
parents get control of the money. Yeah.
That's why Harry Potter took so long to film, because all the actors had to go to school.
So like, how are race weekends gonna work?
Talking about homework, did anyone see Leo Block's Instagram story where she was doing math homework and she's like, does anybody know what this means? And I was gonna swipe up and be like, girl, you are asking the wrong audience.
We're all watching you.
But the other rumor is Red Bull.
Yeah.
Said they're happy with Checo.
Yeah. And they've screwed it with Max.
Well, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Checo is in the gravel. Can we think about that again, please?
Oh, that was my bad. He did say we. I drove the car into the gravel.
Can we also talk about how Carlos was asked the other day in the press conference?
No.
If we would hear anything, and he basically said no. There's nothing right now. And I said, wow, okay.
Well, okay. Also, Fernando Alonso was in a driver's Q&A one time, and they were like, anything about a contract renewal? And he goes, no, I have to see, like, the schedule. Like, I'm happy with 24 races, but if it's really going up to 26, I'm not doing. Not even a week later, here to stay. So, if Carlos has learned anything from his
dad,
uncle,
yeah.
He's got something up his sleeve because he's smart.
No, I know he definitely has something up his sleeve, but it still makes me a little nervous.
I'm scared he's gonna pull a Daniel Ricciardo where he's like, I'm gonna take a gap year and be like the PR guy, but he's not Daniel Ricciardo with the PR because people hate him because they aren't him. So,
wow.
He's just not as comfortable in front of the camera as Daniel is.
No, he's comfortable in front of a camera when he's with his best friend Lando Norris.
Hey,
here we go. Carlos Sainz, reserve McLaren driver.
Carlos Sainz replaces Oscar Piastri. Let's go.
Whoa.
And then I get my 68.
No, because you're getting 44.
I am nervous about this dynamic. I think I'm the only person on the planet who's been realistic about this.
Welcome back, Multi-21.
No, listen, people thought that Carlos and Charles battling on track was bad, but they're not prepared for Lewis and Charles to fight on track.
Welcome back, Mark.
It's so freaking funny that Charles fans think that Lewis is going to sit back and be a second driver. Because that's the whole reason he's leaving Mercedes, is because Mercedes asked him to step back and be a second driver, and he goes, no. So Ferrari is not going to put their godlike person in the second. Yeah, Nui to Aston Martin. Let's go.
Hey.
Actually,
Mark Webber and Oscar Piastri. They're selling the child.
We are so back,
guys. I actually think Nui's going to Williams.
I think that'd be funny.
You know, that would be hilarious.
And he's like, I kind of want to stay in England, but he hates Lawrence Stroll. I think Nui actually wants to retire.
Yeah.
And so I think he kind of wants to stay in England, where like he knows, and he hates Lawrence Stroll. McLaren has their own team. Like, they're not going to replace their engineers with the freaking car that they have right now.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to replace those engineers who are giving them a race-winning car with Adrian Newey. It doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, it's a race-winning car.
What if they didn't replace them, but
just
added
then
him
where's the head engineer going? Because once again, Newey is not going to sit and be like, teamwork makes the dream work.
I feel like they could find a position, like a high position for him.
I think he's going to Williams. I don't think Williams has the money, but I think Adrian Newey likes the legacy. He likes that he was there already.
I think his least likely team out of all the teams that have been rumored besides Aston Martin, I think the least likely for him to go is Ferrari. They don't have money. That's the least likely.
They don't have money.
They're a printer company now.
Do you know first of all, they had to hire HP. Not even hire. Give away their stocks to HP.
They sold themselves to HP.
And they're selling more stocks because they have
Anyway.
Anyways, they have a €100 million contract with Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, we hear news soon because
he said he's not. They said he's not. He said he's not.
He said he's retiring, and he hopes to.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Not to mention Sebastian Vettel again, but hear me out, because Sebastian Vettel said he doesn't miss the F1 podium. He didn't say the podium. He said the F. Anyway, he's got to go to WEC. Engineer is going to go to WEC. Get Jensen Button on board. Sebastian Vettel is going to get on board with Jensen Button. I'm going to get.
Delusional corner.
Anyway,
I'm actually waiting.
I'm running with you. I'm running with you.
Oh, wait, there was another rumor that I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember.
Stalking kitchen.
Wait, hold on. Let me see if I bookmarked it. Logan to Haas.
Oh.
Okay.
It was something about Williams and Logan.
Anyway,
well, also Mick. Alpine, possibly.
Okay, not even.
Hear me out. Mick and Jack, Alpine.
No, I'm walking. I'm running with you, actually.
I'm an Alpine girly now.
Trust me. Those two can give us a pink car.
Real.
And they will drive it well, and it will not overweight.
Yeah. Welcome back, Renault.
Welcome back, Renault.
Welcome back, 2005, 2006 Renault. And we're gonna get
Nick back on the grid. We get Seb.
Exactly. I'm running. Yep. It wasn't me this time, but I'm running. Did I put that in her head? Absolutely, but it's fine. I'm running with her.
Yep.
We're also gonna get the number 47 back.
I say, if we can't have both Mick and Jack, that Alpine should say, "Fuck it, Abby pulling."
Real.
But Abby pulling with Mick, that'd be wild.
Incredible.
Why? What would Jack do? F1 Academy.
Whatever he wants, he can call me.
He's one of the girls.
Yeah, he's
one of the girls.
He can join our pod.
All right, everyone, that concludes another episode of the Pit Lane Yappers, recapping Imola. See you next week for Charles and now Oscar's home race in Monaco.
That's right.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.